Humans of the cardboard, we are continuing on the path of talking about a bunch of 2024 products and kind of just expectations and theories on what we could or should get. Today we're moving to Animation Chronicle. We just looked at Premium Pack yesterday, so this one's going to be really fun. I always like Animation Chronicle. These are like legit solid products. They legit have cards that end up being like somewhat relevant here or there. Some of them ending up, and some cards ending up being really, really relevant, and some of them are just like really nifty, and they make you take a second look and go, can I cook with this? Is there anything spicy with this? That tends to be the idea here. So specifically last year's 2023 was like one of the best ones you've ever seen, I think, but there's something in all of them. So let's run through 2021 real quick and just kind of get a general vibe for what we're looking for as far as like the actual really good cards that we've seen in Animation Chronicle. So starting off with this, one thing that they tend to like to do is they tend to like to print like a new archetype in like every new Animation Chronicle. I can't remember if Sun Avalon was technically in an Animation Chronicle or not. They may have been 2020 because this is 2021. I can't remember for sure or not if it's 2020 or if it came in a different side set, but you'll see anyway, right? They print the the kind of just like Karibo monsters. Karibo wasn't really a full-on archetype until they started getting all these cards. There's actually a handful of just like nice little cards here. So you get the full like Karibo treatment. They get like a bunch of new monsters. You have Utopia support. Leo Utopia Ray is actually just a good card. So that really works. FA Fighting Spirit, which is actually just like a good monster reborn for Adignister. Just added another card to their pool, just like a solid one of in their deck. Speedroid, get it just straight up like Rhoda for them. And then you get some weird cards like Noble Knight's Shield Bearer, the like weird Sherry LeBlanc Noble Knight cards. You get those. These are actually not terrible cards, especially this guy. Silent Sea Nettle, also nice as well. Just a good water extender. Ice Barrier, again, good water, like, synergistic card. Stealth Kraken, we legit saw this deck as a legit rogue deck for a little bit, where people would just pump out Stealth Kraken and pump out Bahamut Sharks and just go to town, and it actually works. So that was definitely really cool to see. I still think this card is actually quite powerful, and the fact they just plopped it in here is kind of nice. And I think the last thing is Puri Rice Map, just a generic search card that hasn't come up as much in like high-end competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, but it is a card that like, if they come out with an archetype where it had everything you wanted, right? It had starters, it had extenders, it had power, it had everything. The only thing it didn't have was just like a little bit of consistency. This would be like the perfect kind of card to supplement in a deck like that. So I think it's a card that you should add, like if you plan on playing for a long time, have this card stocked up because it's going to come up down the line at some point. Oh, I'm sorry. And Rebirth Judgment was another one. Just a cool kind of like decent floodgate card that can change the type of monsters in the grave. That can definitely hinder certain decks. So some interesting stuff there. You see a little bit of like new archetypes that have never been printed before. It's kind of. Karibo already existed, but it didn't really like, it wasn't able to play as a full-on archetype until they kind of got more cards. And they still are like clunky, but like it's something. Then they get some generic cards, and there's even like a little bit of specific archetypal support. So next up, we'll move to 2022 here. This one was probably maybe the worst of the three. It kind of depends how you look at it. But we actually have multiple archetypes printed here. So G-Golems, never printed before, actually got some cards. They have some nice cards, especially their link to Crystal Heart is actually kind of nasty. The Advanced Crystal Beast gets printed here. These are actually terrible. These cards are awful, but they had never been printed before, but they were always part of the anime. They had like the next form of the Crystal Beast, but the original Crystal Beasts are actually better, funny enough. Doodle Beasts, these are cool actually. These are just good cards that I actually think could find a place in Dinos going forward, especially if they ever get more Doodle Beast cards, because they definitely have some legs to stand on for sure. Next up, cards like Toolbox. This card is just kind of an equipped spell searcher, not bad. Stonehenge, just a monster reborn for any monster with 0 attack, not bad at all. Dream Shark, good like fish water support card, just a good extender for them, and it's big booty, has some protection, and it's kind of like just an annoying card to deal with. Kind of same thing with Dream Cicada, just a solid good extender. For insects, Senko, another good card just for like earth decks. He extends himself on the field, and he also gives you the potential to like pop a card later on for free. Also a decent little card there. And then Clockwork Knight, probably the best card in the set overall. The fact that it's like kind of a walking floodgate that makes your board really annoying to deal with because it buffs all your monsters while lowering your opponent's monsters. And then it's changing everything to machines, and if it ever gets outed and sent to grave, it like searches you a free Earth Machine card as well. Not free, you have to pitch a card too, but still being able to get some recovery off of that is really, really nice. So just a phenomenal card through and through. Seems like almost like a custom Cyber Dragon card, but there's other ways to play this as well. Stuff like Earth Machine itself could play this too. Definitely a really cool card to take a look at, because there are just archetypes like Unchained, like Infernoble, where their goal is to like make a Link 2 that requires a very specific typed monster, and they just literally can't make that. They literally just can't make like half the stuff in their extra deck because of a card like this. So really, really powerful there. And that takes you to 2023. There's some cool stuff here as well. Moving through these pretty quick. Earthbounds get printed here. This was never like, these are the Earthbound, just the Earthbound cards, not the Immortals specifically. So these actually are a cool little archetype that does actually get you some cool fusion and synchro value, which is kind of cool. You have a cool little Dino fusion package that actually has like some pretty cool applications here. We'll see if Dinos ever get like a cool more fusion support to make this like playable. Another Photon card. This was in premium pack as well, but just like this is a 1 card rank 4 for Photons, which is kind of cool. Transaction rollback. So this is where this set kind of took off for me, is like the generic cards in this pack were like specifically kind of nasty. So transaction rollback, good generic trap card, but specifically in Labyrinth. Like this sees play in like every single Labyrinth build now because it's just too good. The synergy's too nasty. So boom, transaction rollback's kind of insane. Ashoka Pillar. This is just a Stratos for any equip spell. So for something like Mikanko, being able to get the Arabesque is like really good, because then you load this back in hand for follow-up next turn, and you just get into like a Mikanko combo, which is really cool. It's really good value. Buzz King. Buzz King's also really nice. A generic rank 8 that like removes a card, has the ability to take a monster from your opponent's grave in the grind, and it can hit, extra deck rip a card. It's actually just an amazing card overall. It has like multiple points of usability, whether it's going first or going second. So you have to respect this card. This card's actually kind of nasty. And the last card is obviously Bonfire. We got a new Rhoda card. Like, not like a Piri Rice map, very specific Rhoda. This is like just a straight up Rhoda for a type, a monster type in the game. And this card is literally seeing play in like so many competitive decks in the OCG right now. That's where this one kind of goes to the next levels, that they have like between like transaction rollback and this card specifically, like this pack sees like some actual cards see play in like top tier competitive meta, which is kind of wild. So AC 2023 has definitely been the best one of the last 3 years for sure. I don't want to go too much deeper than that, because the further back you go, the less relevant stuff goes. Here's what I'm thinking though. Just some basic thoughts. Like you could dig super, super deep on anime, because this is Animation Chronicle, right? So keep in mind, these are cards that were in the anime that have never been printed. You could go super deep on this, but I don't watch the animes regularly. I just keep up with some of the big ones that I know people have been asking for a while, including myself. The first and foremost one has to be Armatos Legio. This is one that I've seen so many people cry for every single year. And to be honest, it doesn't feel like there's a ton of archetypes outside of Vrains that are like waiting to be printed. Like it just doesn't feel like they exist. Like Konami over the years has gotten most of them printed. We got the Earthbound stuff last year, which kind of caught me off guard, but it kind of feels like, you know, Vrains archetypes are the biggest way to go, at least if you're trying to like print like legit solid archetypes, because you've got Armatos Legio, never been printed. It's this cool like Roman Empire war based like archetype that does some really cool link spamming things. You have Storm Riders. This would be like a new Wind Cybers archetype where they have like some really powerful cards. They would definitely need to like round it out a little bit more, because some of their cards are really bad, but they had like a straight up like crazy hand trap that just like negates any effect. They could keep that in and just make it like a Subterra Fiendus type card where like it's a card you can search going first and set up, but like maybe going second it's not as applicable that easily, but that's still kind of cool. Hydra Drives, this I believe was a antagonist archetype. Very cool though. Plays a bunch of Link 1, so that would be one thing here. Is that this would probably take up a lot of slots if they tried to print it, but to be honest, any of these would probably take like 10 plus slots to print, so I guess it's not the end of the world. They don't have too many main deck monsters and stuff. They have like a ton of extra deck monsters though, which is crazy. Drones. Reading over the drones cards, even in the anime, they bred so terrible. But listen, Konami can always update them to make them a little bit better, but that would be cool if they wanted to do that and actually make them like decent. But this is the one I have the least faith in, because this one, the readings over some of these cards, like these ones still, even translating from the anime, actually like read kind of decent. Drones read terrible, man. They're so bad. But like I said, Konami can fix anything they want if they want to make it some kind of playable. And the last thing here I'll say is, listen, I'm a Ninja fan. Right, we got the Ninja cards at like the very beginning of this year / the end of last year. They're really nice for the deck, but the deck is just a little bit short. I think it's important to note that there are multiple Ninja cards that were played by like multiple different characters in like different series. If you actually look through these, I know some of these have been printed. Like the Zexal ones, I believe, are like these guys. No wait, not these guys. What am I talking about? If you're talking about like the Twilight Ninjas, all the Twilight Ninjas, like Getsuga, and like the ones that kind of have pendulum stuff going on. The Zexal ones, I believe, oh, maybe those are Arc V instead. Oh, crap. I can't remember. One of these have been printed. I don't think much from like 5Ds, some of the stuff from GX, but like if you look through them, there are just like a handful of Ninja cards that have just never been printed. One of them just says like, if this card's normal summon, special summon a Ninja from deck. I don't know if that would be printed as generically as that, right? Like just a tour guide for ninjas, because that would be insane, being able to special Hanzo and then Hanzo set a card. That would actually be so wild. But I do think there are some cool potential here to just maybe it's a couple new extenders, and if they're actually just like good extenders, that could help push ninjas, because ninjas have a good base now. They just need better ways to like spam more consistently and add a little more consistency in general to the deck. So we'll have to wait and see, but there is some cool stuff there. I would love to see this. This one's just my preference here. I'm sure there's a giant pool of cards, like anime-wise, that have never been printed that we could talk about here. So that's what I'm asking you guys to hit me up with in the comment section down below. Please, these are just the ones that I'd like to see, to be honest. I'd be cool with either one of these three, Armatos, Legio, Storm Rider, or Hydra Drive. Drone, okay, they just have to make it better. So that one I'm a little more skeptical on. And then his legacy support, like 2 or 3 ninja cards that are actually good, like would be so sick. I would love to see that. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I want to talk about here, guys. Just wanted to throw that at you. We don't even technically have Animation Chronicle 2024 announced yet for the OCG. It should be relatively soon. I would think maybe December we'll get it announced, and then we'll start getting reveals for it, in the beginning quarter of the year. So that should actually not be too far away. But just looking at some of the crazy cards we got last year specifically, Buzz King, Bonfire, Transaction Rollback, and like Ashoka Pillar, just as generic cards, like that's just the generic cards. And then like if they actually print a good archetype this year, like that would actually be crazy. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep you posted on any other news that comes out for this. I just want to give a quick little video talking about what we could have coming here, because it is really exciting. But yeah, I'll keep you posted on anything there. So like I said, let me know anything anime based that you really want printed in this year's Animation Chronicle down in the comments. I'd love to hear it, because I honestly just haven't kept up with much of the anime series over the years. So I'd love to hear some of that stuff, because I love seeing these new cards, because they are really, really cool. And yeah, thanks for that. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace.